it's Zach. I'm not here right now. Leave a message. And if this is the freaking Scientologist again, you have the wrong number and I'm still not interested.
Oh my God, Zach. I can't believe DoorDash is doing that. I'll be there at 5 to pick you up. Be ready.
What do these two offers have in common? Everything, except the pay. I don't think it's any secret that DoorDash pays like crap in many markets, but are some drivers being favored with higher pay over others? This video is going to show you several examples of pay discrimination that I witnessed firsthand. Speculation is one thing, but I have screenshots. A lot of them actually. Before we get into the examples, there's two things that we need to briefly discuss. Up until recently, base pay has been fairly predictable. It's generally going to be your market's minimum unless several drivers have declined that order, in which case the pay will go up. That is, unless you're on earn by time, which hopefully you're not. Let's take a look at how DoorDash claims that base pay is calculated, and then I'm going to poke some holes in their claims. Base pay is DoorDash's base contribution for each order. This will range from $2 to $10+ when a Dasher chooses to earn per order, depending on the estimated time, distance, and desirability of the offer. Deliveries that require Dashers to travel a longer distance, that are expected to take more time, and that are less popular with Dashers will have a higher base pay. Alright, first of all, the part about orders going further paying more is a complete lie. A couple summers back, DoorDash cut the base pay for short trips with the promise that they would raise it for longer mileage trips. Well, they definitely lowered the base pay on short trips, but why is it that drivers are still getting orders paying their market's minimum base pay going ridiculous distances? So quit lying, DoorDash. Sorry, I kind of went on a tirade there. It's not what I want to focus on. What I do want to focus on is the claim that base pay goes up if an order is less desirable. Keep that in mind through the entirety of this video. The second thing we need to discuss is how this video came to be in the first place. How did we stumble upon the pay discrimination? Well, it was a complete fluke, a happy or not so happy accident. YouTube is extremely time consuming, and honestly, I feel a little isolated sometimes because of how much time I spend working on it. When I need to decompress from YouTube, I tend to sign into the apps and go do a few orders. From time to time, I'll ride with my friend Pam. She's hands down the best multi-apper I know. After I got done with a 2 or 3 day edit, I decided I needed some social interaction and opted to ride with Pam for a day. Well, 1 day turned into 2, 2 turned into 3, and 3 turned into a week. Neither one of us could believe what we had just discovered, let alone that it was happening over and over. Now, I want to be clear, what you're about to see did not happen with every order. In fact, in the majority of cases, it didn't happen. But when it did happen, you better believe we got screenshots, except for the first time. The first time Pam and I saw one driver about to be paid substantially more than the other, we didn't take a screenshot because we didn't realize what had just happened. But after the second time of it happening, we started paying attention and taking a bunch of screenshots. Okay, I'm sorry for such a long-winded introduction into the subject. I just kind of felt it was relevant to the video. Let's look at some examples. Have a look at these two offers. This was the order I got. I ultimately declined it, and Pam got it about 1 minute later. That is the exact same order. The only difference is the pay and the fact that I was going to have to drive 0.1 miles further than she was. We were on the freeway when we got these offers, hence the slight discrepancy in distance. So, I was going to have to go slightly further, but yet I was offered $1.75 less for this order. That's screwy. Now, I don't want to focus on this specific order too heavily because technically they did send it to me first, I declined it, and then it bounced to her. But $1.75 difference? Really? Let's move to another example. Pam got this offer and declined it. Less than a minute later, I got the exact same offer and accepted it. We were actually already at Panda Express picking up an Uber Eats order, hence why I opted to take it. Now, my initial speculation with this order is I was going to accept it and then see a 25-cent hidden tip. I figured they were just showing her the entire payout and hiding a little bit from me. So, what did I end up getting paid for it? I got paid exactly $7.75. There was no hidden tip. DoorDash was just going to pay Pam 25 cents more than they paid me for the same order, going the exact same distance. Remember when we talked about base pay a moment ago? DoorDash claims that the pay goes up when the order becomes less desirable. Well, how do they know the order is less desirable? It's because drivers are declining it. So you'd think by Pam declining the order, it would have gone up for me. not down. To summarize, somebody else declines the order, so they send it to me and pay me less for it. How is that logical? Let me know in the comments. 25 cents may not sound like much, but this is only our second example. Stay tuned. Alright, this is a good place to pause and get ahead of some of the comments. I didn't want to put this part in the beginning of the video because it was frickin' long enough. Both Pam and I are below a 50% acceptance rate on DoorDash, and neither one of us are in the LOP or any other goofy program for that matter. Basically, what I'm trying to get at is neither one of us have any supposed competitive edge over the other. With that out of the way, let's look at our third example. Pam got this offer first and declined it. Less than a minute later, I got the same offer paying 50 cents less. Once again, because we were moving when we got these offers, I would have ended up driving 0.1 miles further than Pam. Now, with this one, I knew that there was not going to be a hidden tip because at the time, my market's minimum base pay was $2.75. Thanks for lowering the freaking base pay, DoorDash. But I took it because at this point, we realized that there was a problem and I needed more order summary screens showing the discrepancy. So here we go again. Once again, another driver declined an order that I accepted and I was still paid less for it, but in theory, it was less desirable, so the pay should have went up, not down. At this point, I think I've proved my point that DoorDash is screwing drivers, but I've still got a bunch of screenshots to show you. Let's move on to another example. I got this order first, paying $19.25. Some of you may think I'm crazy, but I declined it to see if Pam would get the same order. And if she did, would she be offered a different amount? She did, and she was. Spoiler alert, she was offered $2.50 more for this order than I was. So maybe she was just seeing the entire tip up front. DoorDash was just going to pay me $2.50 less for the same order going the same distance. Hopefully at this point you're starting to see a pattern, but we're not done. Before we go any further, this is the perfect time to press the like button and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I never give DoorDash a free pass. Okay, moving on. Pam got this chicken order paying $16.25. She declined it, and I got it a few seconds later paying $1 less. Now, again, we were moving when we got this order, so I would have went 0.1 miles less than she would have, but does that difference equate to an entire dollar in pay? No, of course not. I never thought that I would be frustrated seeing a customer add to my tip after the delivery, but in this case, it kind of screwed up the purpose of me taking the order in the first place. As you can see, there was no hidden tip, but the customer did add $5 to the tip after delivery, so thanks, I guess. While we did end up taking some orders that we otherwise wouldn't have to make this video, this was one that we weren't going to touch. But Pam got the offer first, declined it, and then it was offered to me for less. I want to pause here again and point something else out. In the week we spent together taking screenshots and talking shit about DoorDash, we did get a lot of really solid offers. Remember, both of us have low acceptance rates, so the reason that we were still getting reasonable offers was because of our proximity. Pam and I both know how to position ourselves for optimum results. Our acceptance rate has little to nothing to do with the offers we receive. It's all about our proximity. But let's continue. Surely DoorDash wouldn't screw a driver with a shop and pay, right? Wrong. Pam got the order first and declined it. Then I got it, but I declined it too because that's not enough money to get me to do a damn shop and pay. Okay, in the interest of fairness, I don't know how this order would have turned out had I accepted it, but at this point, the trend was not my friend. On top of that, it seems like every time I accept a shop and pay for Walgreens or Rite Aid, customer orders the hardest to find, weirdest shit. Our next example had a 50-cent discrepancy. Pam got this offer first, and I got it a few moments later. We didn't end up accepting this order because we figured it would have been a substantial wait at the restaurant. Here's another one we didn't take. Pam got the offer first and declined it. 2 minutes later, I got it, for 50 cents less. Pam got this offer first, and then these bastards turned around and once again offered me 50 cents less for the same order. As I'm sure you've guessed by now, there was no hidden tip. Alright, this is the 11th and final offer we're going to look at. Pam got the offer first, declined it, and then I got it and accepted it. Unfortunately, I forgot to get a screenshot of the order summary, but there was no hidden tip. To summarize this part of the video, we just looked at 11 examples of one driver being paid, in some cases, substantially more than another driver. I'd be a little more understanding if this was a fluke or some really weird one-off event, but it wasn't. We were able to replicate this over and over. Pam and I had many conversations and speculated about several theories that we had on why some drivers were being paid more than others, but ultimately what we landed on was it was just DoorDash being DoorDash and screwing drivers like they always do. One of the theories that we had considered was that DoorDash was back to stealing tips. So, on one of the orders that she had declined and I had accepted, she contacted support and asked what the breakdown of the pay was, and they told her. The tip did match what I was paid, but the base pay did not. We're contractors, right? To me, it seems logical that we should be able to bid for the work, but of course we'll never see that happen. I'm of the opinion that we're either contractors or we're employees, but DoorDash wants to play both sides of the fence. When it comes to things like benefits and covering expenses, we're damn sure contractors. But when it comes to just about everything else, like, working when we choose to, we're treated like employees. Out of all of the gig apps that I've ever driven for, DoorDash is by far the least ethical and has taken the most shots at drivers, more than the rest of them combined. I will never be the guy to tell you to turn the app off or to uninstall it. Just use the app. Don't let the app use you. If you have to contemplate an offer that was just sent to you for more than a couple of seconds, chances are pretty good it's not a good deal for you. Don't be a fake employee for a company that doesn't respect you or your time. Always use the app to benefit you. You should never be the benefit to a company. Too many drivers want to act like employees without any of the benefits. I actually just did a deep dive on that. You want to watch that? You can find it here. DoorDash will never change unless they're legally forced to. But, in the meantime, I'll be here educating as many drivers as I can. I want to give a massive thank you and shout out to my friend Pam, who spent a week in the car driving with me, just so I could bring you this information. She's the real MVP. If you appreciate this information, please be sure to thank her in the comments. What are your thoughts on DoorDash paying some drivers more than others? Have you witnessed this firsthand? Let me know in the comments. If you haven't done so yet, please do consider pressing the like button and subscribing to my channel. My name is Zach. Take care. Now, do you mind, sir? I'm trying to film a video over here. Basically, neither one of us have any supposed competitive edge. Shit, something flew in the